is available for you to energetically tap into. So we're just going to do this for a moment. Bring your hands together, close your eyes, and we're going to lift them, flip them out, and sweep down. So this just clears and grounds your energy. So taking a deep breath in and out. Next breath in, bring your hands slowly up. Flip your palms and exhale out. And at the bottom, shake your hands, kind of flick your hands. And then bring the hands, kind of sweep them from your pelvis back up, inhaling. Exhaling. Flicking your hands again. And one more time. I always do everything in threes. Flicking your hands at the bottom. Welcome. Thank you for doing that with me. Helped me ground a little bit. I've had such a busy week, and I feel like this is a week that I shouldn't be busy. I don't want to be busy. We're in the middle of winter, but at the same time, I'm doing something I love. So I have been, let me take a drink of my electrolytes here. I have been working on videoing a class and creating, I was creating PDFs, and then I decided that was too much work. I've done that in the past where people have PDFs that they can download. And, oh, Sarah. Well, I'm gonna cast a circle at the end here around 11:30, probably around in an hour or so from now. But anyway, I decided that I'm just going to put the verbiage to like spells and rituals and ceremonies, just typing it right under each video class. But the way I record classes is I set up a whole ceremony, change my whole altar, reset my whole altar, which I'm very specific about. So when it gets torn down, it gets reset, rededicated. And then I'm like cleaning everything up. I'm doing the entire ceremony, cleaning the ceremony up. And then I have to edit it, and then I have to download it. And I've probably recorded approximately 25 classes this week, edited them, typed out the content for them. I'm creating a class on shifting from codependency to sovereignty using the 3 cauldrons in the Celtic cauldron theory, I guess you call it, or Celtic cauldron, the cauldron of Posey's theory. It is similar but different. People compare it to the chakras, when the chakras is actually an Indian or Asian concept, like Indian in India. And the witch archetype actually, it began in the Celtic areas and in Europe. And so we actually have our own energetic system that they use over there. And the Christian monks actually, they took away everything, right? There's hardly any pagan history. But what they did leave, they left because it was easy to manipulate, right? So the the 3 cauldrons, I believe the Christian monks didn't wipe that out, and they just shifted it because it was like the Father, Son, and the Spirit, or Father, Son, Holy Ghost, however that works. But it originated with a way for well, the history has it that the poets actually used this energetic system as, it almost sounds like an energetic awakening tool. And I've been reading about it for a few years. When I used to be on a podcast, Good Morning Jazz, one of the women on the podcast brought it up to me, so I started researching it back then, and I really feel it in my reality. And it dawned on me this winter. It just, spirit kind of downloads these things, and it's like, okay, you have to do this and you got to do it now. And so I have been trying to get this going, but I've been working. My husband said to me this morning, there's something as mental exhaustion. And I'm like, I do think I am experiencing mental exhaustion. Good morning, Jenna. And maybe good morning, Erin. I think a spiritual exhaustion as well for the amount of ceremony I've been doing. But, and also like what's been going on this week collectively, it's a lot. It's heavy. And, you know, I guess I feel like I can't be live and not say something about Renee Good. There's been so many people that have been unalived here in the US through what ICE has been doing. And, you know, we've seen, this is the second time, I believe, this year that we have seen, or I guess it was last year once and once this year, but it doesn't matter who it was, but people are being unalived and other people are videoing it, and we're putting it on TikTok. And we are witnessing the loss of life firsthand. And I believe to some extent it's desensitizing many people. However, it almost seems like when I tune into, I from what I've read about the Renee Good, and then when I tune into the spiritual, which of what's happening in the last 5 years, let's put it that way, there's been this building of energy, awakening the collective. And people say she was like sunshine in human form. Her skin glittered. I've read things like that about her. And I really thought when tuning into that, what came to me was, you know, I do believe we all choose before we come here things like our exit point, but it doesn't make it any easier. Even if you have that spiritual awareness, it doesn't make it any easier that we are witnessing the duality that is in our collective. And it's horrifying to watch and to hear people, you know, say things like she shouldn't have been parked in the middle of the road. Well, even if you feel that way, would that be cause for someone to lose their life? No. And I think that's what we're being awakened to, is to the extreme, the division's already there within humanity. And it's sad, but it's almost like these horrible events are some sort of necessary evil spiritually, even though I hate to say that, because a lot of people are, it doesn't seem that way, but a lot of people are shifting their perspective on what they thought was true and what they thought wasn't true. Did you guys hear my cat? Ginger, what's the deal? What? Come here. Come here, Ginger. Come here. She's very upset at me right now. Anyway, my heart goes out to her family, and I kept pausing in the middle of the work I was doing, and no, I'm not. Do you know what? The person that's saying, are you going to talk about paganism or just politics? No, I'm not here to just talk about politics. But unfortunately, being a witch is inherently political, because guess who killed the witches? The witches were killed because, and I shouldn't use that word, they're going to block me, because of things like what is going on in our government right now. You know, a friend of mine said this week, she said, I don't do lives anymore because I feel like people just expect us to come and give them all this information and knowledge for free that we have spent years learning. And she said, I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of people expecting me to just give away all this information. And that's what I feel in that comment that you just made, is because I am here sharing weekly everything that I've learned with nothing in return. And what I am, you know, I am one who's always been like, I'm not political, like I don't get in the middle of politics. But if you do not see what is happening in our world right now, on our planet, and you just want to come here and expect me to speak for free to you, which I do from the depths of my heart. I love sharing with you and offering this information that I offer weekly. However, witchcraft and paganism is inherently wrapped up in the middle of what is happening right now. And if you hear me talk weekly, you hear me say that what happened during the burning times was a pandemic, a mental and spiritual pandemic that went from the European countries and it spread across the entire planet. So if you're going to hide your head in the sand, or if you're going to love and light yourself through this time on our planet, spiritually bypassing what has happened, then remember, you are not doing anyone any good. You cannot be blind to what is happening. I'm not saying you need to become the anger, the rage, or the grief, but it is present. And if you can't feel, sense, or see that they are using the same tactics that they used back in 1692, they're using it again right now. They're just experimenting on us. What is going to scare the people enough that they will fall in line? So don't say to me, are you going to just keep talking politics? I am not talking politics. I am talking human life. This is life right now, and you can't love and light it away. Our ability to feel is what gives us the passion, the energy, the momentum, the rage in us does not allow us to be silent. If we just sit here and vibrate in love, if you look at the planet, the amount of people that are awake, it's probably 10% of us. Honestly. So is 10% of the people love and lighting everything that's happening gonna change it? No, it's not gonna change it. Our voices have to be heard. Do we have to riot and destroy and hate other people? No, that's what they are depending on. But what we can do is midwife the awakening process that is happening in humanity right now. And is midwifing the birth of something new easy? No. You are holding the space for other people to give birth to something new. And when you watch a woman in labor, she is screaming for hours, crying, sweating. This is what is happening to humanity right now. They are all being brought to the brink of the place where it's like, I can't do this. And those spiritual people that are awake right now, even if you think you are not influencing anyone or you're not doing any good, like well, I don't have as big of a following as you, or I don't have a following to share with. We need midwives midwifing everyone else out there. You don't have to be on TikTok or Instagram. You are midwifing your families, your communities, and that doesn't mean you're out there proselytizing to them, trying to get them to be spiritual. It is the shadow that is being exposed in humanity right now that needs those of us that have been going through this process for years and years to rise up and midwife that process, to say, I've got you. It's okay to cry. It's okay to scream. You will get through this. We will get through this. But you're not going to be a midwife and say to the woman that's giving birth, just love and light, and you won't feel any of these labor pains. No, that's freaking ridiculous. That's not how it works. Your rage, your power, your emotion, your grief is all a valid part of your experience. If you start shutting that down and just being in this toxic light bubble, that's not going to change anything. If you're here, if you're listening to me, you're there too. Not everyone's going to be on TikTok listening to me or listening to anyone else that's on TikTok. We all have communities. We all have places of work that we visit, that we dialogue with people for hours a day. Just you being who you are in your community is midwifing this new age, is midwifing this transformation, and it's ugly. And if I came on this live today and just completely bypassed the fact that people are suffering this week, how would I be of any good to these people? If I just sat here and pretended that it was all light and joy and happiness and I didn't feel the sadness for the woman that was just unalived and her children and her family, I would not be human. And we are meant to be human. And that's what we're learning to do right now, is to anchor heaven on earth. That means to bring your spiritual awareness down and into your body. And that's why everything right now that has you scared, that has you afraid, it's keeping you up and out. It's keeping you in a place of projection. Our body, just from our ancestors and what they experienced during the burning times, tries to energetically keep us up and out because our egos do not feel our bodies are a safe place to be. And that's why we have to do shadow work, is because our bodies are a safe place to be. They are. Our body is always doing everything it can to protect us and help us survive. The reason we're not in our body is because our egos did the best it could when we were children and made us go up and out, so our body wasn't experiencing the pain. So our spirit wasn't experiencing the pain. But the problem is we never got a chance to feel those things. And for those energetic, traumatic events in our life, we have to feel them to heal them. And it's not that you need to go back and just relive it to re-traumatize yourself. No. You go back to feel it, to process it, and to leave it, and then to move forward. Unfortunately, when terrible things happen, we remember how much human life is worth, how valuable each of us are. That the person you walk past in the grocery store might not be here tomorrow. That you might not be here tomorrow. So we have to be able to continue on our path with our purpose while simultaneously feeling your own pain and trauma around what's happening right now, and also processing the collective weight that is hanging. And everybody, I promise you, it's not just a lot of people are experiencing upheaval right now. Because unfortunately, you've got to dig out the old crud to be awake to what's really happening. All the people that are bypassing what is happening by saying this most recent event, this woman shouldn't have been parked in the middle of the road, when they say that, all that's saying is they don't have any compassion or empathy or ability to feel. And what that says to me is that they have a lot of trauma they have not unearthed. And so they created armor around their heart, around their body, so that they don't feel, so they mentalize it, if that's a word. they what is the word I'm looking for? I don't think mentalize. It's like they process it through their brain by the program that they have been fed. And they're like, well, this is the rule, and she wasn't following the rule. Even if she wasn't following the rule, does the punishment fit the crime? No. And the rule followers are never the ones that changed anything historically. If there was only rule followers, we'd still be in 1692 burning people and hanging people. We need to think about these things. Rationalizations. Thank you, Christina. I was like, what is the word I'm trying to say? It's exposing the amount of programming and conditioning that humanity, it's just highlighting how asleep everyone is to everything. And using our intuition 5 years ago, when all of this began, our intuition began to be challenged. We were like, what is truth? What is reality? With all this illusion and delusion, how do we know what is true and what is not? And we just have walked through these last 5 years trying to figure that out. And I understand people, everybody is doing the best they can. That we've got to help people see the bigger picture. And, you know, I probably sound fierce when I'm coming back at this person that I'm talking to. But, you know, there's a lot coming from behind that. Like I said, my friend's not even going live anymore because of the amount of expectation people were putting in her feed. And I get that exhaustion when people just expect you to give everything to them for free. They don't realize the hours and the years and the months it took you to come to the place that you're at and be able to share it the way you share it. And then people come on and say shitty things like that person did in the beginning. Like, I'll share whatever you ask a question and I'll answer it. But don't come at me like that, because right now, what is happening is a mirror of what happened in 1692. They are creating a mental and spiritual pandemic. I've been talking, you heard me say this over and over again for the last year and a half, probably. The witch trials, all of it, the witch originated in the European countries. And now we have witches that are from every culture. The reason that is not because they had different words in all these different cultures for the women who were spiritually gifted in the way witches are. But everybody adopted that word because of the pandemic of mental and spiritual instability that the government at the time put on people to gain control of the people. It is, they're doing it again. And that's what I did a card reading last week. I haven't even uploaded that video for the year ahead. And I kept thinking during this week periodically while I was like downloading videos and things like this, I would have moments where I was sitting there just watching my phone and I was thinking back to the cards I pulled. And it's like, this year, I feel like that agenda is going to be pushed harder. There's going to be a more massive wake up in ways that we couldn't even expect. But I also feel like I don't know if it will be something external. I feel like there's going to be something that majorly shifts humanity and the way we look at things. And there's going to be like no way to look away from it. And it's almost like something's gonna, I'm not sure what I'm feeling, but there's something there. And just because I'm saying that somewhere mid-year something's gonna be brought up, it doesn't mean that it's gonna be like, oh, here's the wisdom. Actually, Atlantis and Lemuria existed. We have proof now, and all humans came from other planets. Is humanity just going to be like, oh, okay, that's great, we're all awake now? No. What I am saying is there is something coming in that's gonna help us, but I don't feel it being an easy thing. It's almost gonna be this like pause in humanity mid-year in around June and summer solstice where everybody's like, whoa. And we've had so many of those, right? Who knows what it's going to be? I feel like this year is with the fire horse coming, the energy of fire, like it's inevitable. It's going to go by really quick, but we're still in that pause right now before that energy begins to pick up. But at the end of this month, the astrology really starts to shift and things amp up. And I believe right now we are supposed to be feeling and this moment, especially here in the US and for all of the world, because people are watching us outside the US and they're like, what in the hell? What in the hell? Like everybody's seeing it all over TikTok. And it's like people in the US are like, what the hell? But then there's all these people that are like zombies. And I don't say that to be hateful or to call names. It's just, I'm trying to find a way to describe the conservative people that are following the rules and trying to be good people. And it's like, they're just like, what is the rule? Do it. What is the rule? Follow it. Like, and their nervous system is telling them if they follow the rules and do what everybody tells them to do, that everything's going to be better. And it's not. It's not. We didn't go from the burning times to where we are now by nobody rising up and demanding change. And that's why when anyone says to me, oh, Harmony, you're so consumed by hate, I just am like, oh, people can be so blinded by their spirituality. What we've seen this week, it on so many levels, they were attacking this woman's sexuality. They were attacking who she was as a person, as if loving another woman is an issue. Like, if we were all sovereign beings, we would not feel that we should have any say over how anybody else lives their life. We don't have a say. It is the codependent patriarchal structures that have made us feel we have a say in how everyone else lives their life. And it's just not true. And they're depending on us staying in this codependent narrative of how to remain safe on this planet. And the thing that is threatening us more than division, because we've already been divided for how many years. What's really threatening humanity right now is the way that our DNA and our programming have made us believe, because our DNA and our programming and even our nervous system has been over the years instinctually, we believe that tribal living is what keeps us safe. And so people feeling like they have to know what is right or wrong, or they have to be on one side or the other, is what's really threatening to destroy us. You have to know where you stand, but you have to somehow stand there, even having compassion and for the most brutal people that are on the planet right now, the most asleep people. Because we're conditioned, I believe, the people that are like, you have to follow the rules, they want to remain safe on this planet. And that's what their nervous system is constantly feeding them, is that old narrative from back in the old days before we had all these modern conveniences, that you won't survive out in the jungle unless you have this tribe of people. That program is still running through our DNA to the point where people can't think outside of what is they're being told to do. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of people who are changing and waking up and realizing, like, even if nobody else is saying the same thing as I am, I'm going to say it anyway. Because if we all fear so much being ostracized or outcast, that I believe is part of the cancel culture shadow, is that it also fed that narrative of, I'm so afraid to speak my truth because I might be ostracized, I might be canceled, I might be cast out, that it keeps the truth hidden. And that's what religion and governments want. They want you to stay silent. They want you to not use your channel. All humans are psychic. All humans are intuitive. They have been attacking our ability to intuit, to use our intuition to know what is right or wrong for hundreds of thousands of years, with the threat of unaliving people. So anyway, I didn't expect to like go on a little tangent like that, but that person's comment really got me, especially with the amount of work I was putting in this week to, thank you, Marge. Thank you for liking the lives and for hearting the live and sending gifts, you guys. I appreciate it. I guess the amount of work that I have been putting in this week, and also hearing one of my friends and her perspective on why she's gotten kind of quiet. I felt firsthand, it's hard to continue to show up when people come at you like that. But thank you all who are in the comments saying that you appreciate and all of that. It is in our heart and soul to want to share everything we're sharing. It is hard to have people send those horrible things, and I need to get better at not focusing on the one or two comments or whatever. But Net's trying to understand. Eclectic Goddess, gotcha, girl. Oh, Stella is thinking about, I know some of you were mentioning Stella, and Stella and I have been talking this week. As soon as I get my class all recorded and up and going, her and I are going to do a live together and we'll advertise it. We're thinking like maybe of doing a collective spell or something. And that's another thing I want to speak to right now about people are, they've messaged me about like, can you get everyone to do a collective freezer spell? Can you get, because I posted something on another platform about the witches know who needs to be in the freezer or something. And so I got a lot of comments about that and realizing that people want us to come together and do something. And the thing is that Spirit just showed me visually as I was looking at these comments from people, a cow and people throwing little pins like you sew with the ball on the end, like people throwing the pins at this cow, like trying to kill a cow with a bunch of stick pins, and it's like it's just not going to happen. And I sat with that for a little while, that visual, and was like, what are you trying to tell me here? So I think the message is like, of course, don't stop doing your freezer spells. I think all the little energetic stuff, it does help, right? But I feel like what humanity doesn't understand is the power inside us is, they've already tested our heart field energy just from being human. When we are stuck in a place of grief or depression or anxiety or stress, that heart energy comes closer in. So humanity right now, because majority of humans have not done shadow work, they don't know how to be with both. They don't know how to be with the shadow and also continue to walk your path of sovereignty, to look at hard things, to feel hard things, to feel what they trigger in you, and also gather your energy and your strength and continue to move forward. Because when we're doing that, this is what I think the people that are spiritually bypassing with light and love are missing, is that you can't just light and love it away. You've got to be adept in shadow work. And that's what I'm talking about. Shadow work allows you, there's a little gnat. It's the season for gnats. And I've got so many gnats, like bugs from my plants. Anyway, I was doing a live the other week and I was like inhaled and the bug went in my nose and I was like, ah! Anyway, the shadow work allows you to be with both and I guess an example of that is what I was doing this week. Like I told you guys, I was up at 7:30 in the morning and I was not stopping working until 8 or 8:30 at night. And my husband was pointing that out to me this morning because I was so tired and I was like, I don't know if I can do the live today. But in between working on all those classes and everything, I also was acknowledging what was going on with humanity, what was staying aware of what was happening in the collective this week, which was heavy and was a lot. Like I showed my husband this certain video again and again as I was in tears because I was just like, it is almost like this stuff is getting normalized, like it's a video game in front of us or something. And then I would go in and set up my class and get things going. And it's like, you have to be able to feel these things. Otherwise they get trapped in your body as fear. And I've told my husband this before and he's like, I don't think you'd say that on the other end of like say where Renee Good is, but I'm like, you know what, I'll keep being as loud as I'm gonna be on my lives and on doing whatever I'm doing with witches and people. I don't care who doesn't understand me, and if in the end it ends up taking my life, then so be it. And he's like, I don't think you would say that after the fact. And I think my soul absolutely, if that were to happen, which I don't believe it's meant to happen in this life, I don't believe in this life. For me, that's what's meant. I believe I'm going to be here for quite a while. But I also know I've lived that out in other lives. So I guess there's this level of trust when you've done shadow work in your own path, in your own sovereign path. But people don't understand sovereignty right now. I guess that's why I am creating, why Spirit was like, create this class from codependency to sovereignty, use the Celtic cauldron system, use your deities you work with, bring it all together and put it in a class. And I guess that's because it's going to help people get closer to being able to balance both the light and the shadow, because you're not going to light it away. You're not going to just all of a sudden, when people are like, we're shifting timelines and people are waking up, it makes everybody think we're going to wake up every day and everybody's going to have this brilliant light shining through everyone, and we're all of a sudden going to be like the lion laying down with the lamb magically. I think things have to break. It's like the Tower card. And I know the Tower card is not the year for all of these years, but it feels like the Tower card has been with us for years. For every time lightning strikes, we become aware as we are falling of how we have been conditioned and how we've been programmed and how we pushed it down. You're so excited for it, Erin. I love it. I'm not sure what's going on in the comments, but it's not an easy time, but our souls are aware why we came here, that we are meant for more. Again, we are the ones midwifing. If you're listening to me, then it's because you are one of those midwives for your communities, for your friend groups. You might just have one friend. You might just have one person you talk to at work that you're meant to midwife. And if each of us on this planet who is in a spiritually awake place is walking that path of shadow and light, that's how we wake up the masses. It's not just by going around and pretending it's all love and light and trying to teach other people how to ignore it by saying like, oh, every word we speak is a spell, and so just say good things and good things will happen. That's not the way it works. It's not the way it works. Your vultures are circling my avian guides. I love that, Marjorie. Like, that just feels like so much like Hecate is just like, hey, I got you. I'm here with you. And what's interesting about that, you know what I didn't notice? There was a few times I was recording this week, and if you take this class that, I think I'll get it out there next week. My goal was the 16th. I don't know if that's going to happen, but several times when I put in there a womb healing ceremony that I've only offered at Wild Woman Retreat, and so I had to set up the whole ceremony and do it all virtually, so you can, take your camera, bring it in the bathroom with you or outside. You do the flower bath, you come inside, you lay down. I'm like guiding the whole thing, and in the middle of it, a few times I had the window open in my room. Ravens flew by and were like, caw, caw. It definitely, there's been that presence of the Divine Mother here with us, really supporting us right now. I believe letting all of us know who are midwifing this time, like, I've got you, humanity. And I think that's the thing, again, that tribal instinct of ours to be a part of a group is driving a lot of people to believe what they believe, but it's remembering we're not alone. And the thing is when you have been raised to be codependent and not realize it, part of narcissistically controlled families, you don't realize that you're never alone. If you're Christian, you think you've got to have this God outside of you's approval, and so you're wondering, am I on the right side of humanity right now? Am I doing enough of what the church is telling me to do? And it's like, that's not the way. A savior is not the way. There is no savior. There's no God in the sky that's going to save you, and you're never alone. You're never alone because you walk away from Christianity. Actually, you feel more held when you walk away from that belief system that makes you believe that you have to follow some rules or be good enough to make it to this exalted state. When you step outside of that, you realize that source or creator is within you. Whatever you call that, it is inside you. And because of that, you are never alone. And you have the ability to tap into that at any time. And when you're doing it, and it's hard to do, this week I was like, that song kept going through my head. I woke up with it in my head one morning. The Taylor Swift song, like, I can do it with a broken heart. It's almost gonna make me cry right now. And I kept like singing that in my head to myself all week, because there is a lot going on in the collective. And I knew I had to continue to show up and do this class because I was guided to. And it's like, I'm really, really busy, I'm telling my husband, and he's like, you have control over your own schedule. And I'm like, I know I do, but when Spirit tells you to do something, there is no, like, you can't wait. You just have to do it now. And, I do this every now and then where I wake up and it's almost like Spirit gives me a song that's like a message. And that was the song I woke up with this week. And I'm like, okay, like, that's the message. Like, we can do it with a broken heart. Like, there are artists out there that are like Taylor Swift, that are prophetesses and oracles in their own right. And through their music and through their movies, we can actually be inspired to continue to walk our path. And it's like Taylor Swift probably has no idea there's someone out here like little old me who's recording 1 million videos for, who knows how many people will take this class. Will it be 5? Will it be 100? I don't know. I worked 3 years on one class, The Way of the Witch. That took me 3 years of videoing. And what I'm doing right now, I'm trying to get done within a matter of 3 weeks. And Spirit's like, wakes me up in the morning. You can do it with a broken heart. And I'm like, that's what I'm doing. And then it's like, that's what we're all doing, right? That's what we're all doing. But if you aren't doing it with a broken heart, if you're going around like, I don't know, I'm just so happy, I just don't tune into that because I'm not political. It's like, fuck that. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. I love you, but you're still conditioned and programmed. And I hate it that I even have to bring things up like this, because it kind of makes me sound like an asshole to people that are doing that. But, I tried it on for a while back years ago when I was doing yoga and stuff. And I realized really quick, like, no, this does not work for me. It was like pushing everything back down that I had worked to be able to allow myself to feel. Because I was raised in a family and a church that was like, push it down. You gotta show up like this perfect little Mormon family. And you've got to preach the gospel. And I'm like, in everything I do, that is not what I want. I do not want to preach the gospel. I try to keep in all of my classes and all of my teachings and what I'm sharing that you are sovereign. This is your life. I will share with you the way that I have gotten there, but you've got to do it your way. Even though witchcraft is primarily goddess worship, I don't say I worship the goddess, I honor the goddess, but I'm not going to tell you in any of my classes who source is for you. You will always hear me say, whoever you find that to be. Because I don't want to be the church. I don't want to be the cult. The churches don't realize they are the cults. Because they are telling you to divide from humanity. They are telling you who to follow. You know what's funny? I have spent in this room this week hours upon hours talking to this camera with nobody talking back to me. And this morning I was writing a message in our Coven app to a couple of the women in there, and you know, I really see myself in many of the women that come, but there are certain women that it's like, yeah, I don't even have words for it. It's like I can feel they are a mirror of me, who I've been, and who they're meant to be probably exceeds who I am. And I'm like thinking to myself as I'm getting ready this morning, because I'm telling them, even if you don't have words, there was a time when I didn't have words. There's times at my retreats where Rebecca, one of the priestesses in my coven, she's very quiet. And there were times like, there's still times in groups of people, I don't know what to say. But if you put me in a leadership role, like say at my work, over all these years, I would speak up, no problem. You put me in a leadership role, I will take control and do what I've got to do. But put me in a social situation and I'm feeling everything that's coming through me, I sometimes don't know what to say. And even though I can teach and I can channel and do what I do, I feel like sometimes almost I'm a better teacher when it is just me in front of the camera and I don't have you right in front of me talking back to me, because I get so much moving through me. I don't know what to articulate in words. So sometimes I'll just, like at the retreat, I just went and sat near Rebecca. Or I even did it with you, Marjorie. Sometimes I just come and stand by you and it's like, I hope you know I love you. I don't know what to say right now, but you know, I'm like, I don't know how to be a part of this group conversation because it's not natural for me. And spirit somehow, like people used to tell me years ago, like in the spiritual community, I see you doing so much more. I see you influencing so many more people. A Vedic astrologer, a few astrologers told me, you're going to be some sort of famous cult leader or witch or something. And I'm like, I don't know how that would be. I can barely teach yoga. Like learning to teach yoga was my biggest catalyst of learning to speak with people in the room with me. And it was so hard. Oh my gosh, it was so hard. And now it's like, even when I get in circles sometimes, I walk away and I'm like, did anything come out of me in person that was meant to? But if you put me in front of a camera with nobody actually talking to me, I'm just like, blah, 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 blah. And it makes me appear as though I am so outgoing. And people meet me in person and they're like, you're so quiet. The people at my husband's work call me a mute. It's like, you know, my kids have always said, my daughters specifically have always told me for years and years, like, Mom, we think you're autistic and you might have passed it on to us. And like, I feel like it's just being me in the world. I do have Mercury in Gemini, which means I can talk, but I also believe that there's that other side to Mercury in Gemini that's like the other side that can't articulate the words or get it out. And yeah, it's funny right now, I'm not stumbling over my words a lot, but over the past few nights, my husband's been pointing out, like he was walking away from me last night and he said, do you realize you just said, I feel like I'm in a different time zone? He said, did you mean I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone? And I was like, yes, that's what I meant. Why did I say I feel like I'm in a different time zone? So today he's like, sorry, in the East Coast or the Pacific, or where are you at today? Now he's teasing me, but it is when I get mentally tired. Sometimes the words that come out of my mouth, it's like, what did I just say? But also, I believe when we're doing what we are supposed to do, spirit somehow comes through and makes the things that are hard for us just flow. What we have to get to is the point of being brave enough to do it and courageous enough to do it. And, you know, I always think when I talk of bravery about the tarot card of strength, and that tarot card of strength, the deck I have has a lion and a woman. It's a feminine type of strength. And that's what courage is. It's not that you're not afraid. It's that you do it anyway, because you know that you're safe, and even if you fuck it up, you're going to do it anyway. And that's what I had to do with yoga. Like, I was so passionate about how yoga helped me that I knew I wanted to share that with other people. And it was so funny because the first class I taught, I ended up with this girl there with me who a lot of times in yoga class, she became a teacher before me, but we ended up in class together a lot. And I always kind of like, she seemed kind of like a worldly person that was awakening herself, right? Like I could see her I could see her energy shifting weekly. And then she became a yoga teacher, but I had no idea who she was as a person. And when you taught this studio, there was like 50 people in your class, and you had to wear a microphone and you had to memorize a script, and it was a lot. And that first class, they give you a co-teacher. So if you panic or freeze, that co-teacher is there to continue talking. You're both wearing a mic. And so it wasn't a class where I was actually doing yoga. I had a mic on and I walked through the class and instructed the class by my words. So I wouldn't do anything. I just told you how to do it. It was like, inhale, lift your right leg. Exhale, step through. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, reach your arms up. And I had to have every movement, which I felt like without doing it myself, which I found I was actually really good at, because not because I could memorize things, but because I could feel other people's bodies so easily, and I could feel myself doing those movements. But when I walked in that class and Christina was there with me, and I was like, fuck, I'm so scared. I don't think I'm going to be able to do this. Like, and the thing is I couldn't even, years before, 2 years prior to that, we won an award where we won a cruise, and from this multi-level marketing thing we did. And we went up on stage and they held a microphone to my face and said, "What's your name?" when they were announcing that we won this cruise. And I literally opened my mouth and was like, and nothing came out. And she was like, "Oh," I said, "What's your name?" And I went, and literally nothing came out. And my husband leaned over and said, "Her name's Harmony." It was so embarrassing. I just froze. But I felt that fear that, like, I can't speak in that first yoga class. And Christina, she turned around to where the radio, the stereo was, and she had some crystals up there. I didn't know they were hers. And she grabbed one of them and grabbed my hands and put it in my hands and said, "Hold this, close your eyes, take a breath, and just start talking." And to this day, like, I will love her forever, because that moment, had it been anybody else, they probably just would have started talking for me. But I believe she was meant to be in there. And, you know, the other yoga teachers there, they were not very spiritual. I ended up leaving that studio mostly because I was too spiritual for them, if that makes sense. They were very mainstream, and I really wanted to honor the culture of yoga. And Christina still teaches there, and she does her best to honor the culture of yoga and where it came from. I really admire what she does there, because I couldn't do it there. But had it been someone else, they wouldn't have handed me crystals. They probably would have just spoke for me. But because she handed me that crystal, it just, like, I still get a chill when I think about that, because that's what I needed in that moment, was to hang on something to ground me. And then I began to speak, and I'll never forget, like, there was the beginning of the script you had to follow to a T, like, "Good morning, welcome to Bend. My name is Harmony. I will be guiding you through your practice today. Let's begin by lying on our back." Like, there was this whole script, but I remember just closing my eyes, holding on to that, and, like, saying those words. And in the end, I went and taught somewhere else that gave me more freedom to teach how I wanted to teach. And it was really cool, because I taught in a gym that wasn't spiritual at all. I started with my husband and one other woman in the room. And within like 6 months, I was filling the room to where there was no room for other people to be in there. And my husband would always be like, "You started with note cards and me and Laura Lee, and now you're just like channeling, and people are like, what is it that you do?" and all of this. So I know what is possible for those of you out there right now that are like, you feel like your voice is trapped, you feel like you are just one person and you feel so much. How are you going to be of any good to the world? Your gift is your ability to feel. And you are going to get to the other side of it. And who knows where you'll end up. If you would have told me 10 years ago that I'm going to be holding women's retreats and I'm going to be talking on a TikTok live, I would have told you no way in hell. I think I opened up my little witchy yoga boutique because it was like, I felt like that was a way to hide and also do something that was my passion. And then I believe Spirit came in and was like, okay, if you're gonna hide behind this, then we're gonna make your body fail until you walk away and go down a different road. And it was devastating to lose that boutique, but I did hide behind the boutique, if that makes sense. I only held in that boutique 2 circles. And everybody kept telling me, teach in your own studio, you have so much to offer. But I was afraid. I was like, I was afraid that I was this witch that taught yoga and that there was too many Christian people in my town. But obviously, like looking back, I'm like, I could fill the room at that gym. What makes me think I couldn't have filled my own boutique in classes and circles? But it was that fear that existed in me. And that's, going back to the strength card, is that's what we're moving through right now. It's not that we just are these warriors that are like, rah, like we just have it, like no fear. The fear is there. The fear is programmed into our DNA by what our grandmothers have lived. But the thing is that if you're here listening right now, you do it anyway. And that's what courage is. It's being afraid and doing it anyway. It's knowing when fear is actually truth and fear is actually not true. Margie, thank you for the gifts. I love you. Thank you guys for sending the gifts and hearting the live. I appreciate it. I have a little online witch school. I can't talk about it or they'll kick me off of my live, but hopefully you'll go check out my classes. I have 2 new classes I'm getting ready to launch. One is just it's 9 activations. So 9 meditations that are meant to activate different parts of your body using the healing abilities that I use if you were in person, but I'm using them virtually. So I have that one, and then I have the 3 Cauldrons course, which is a little more in depth. That's the one where I share the womb healing ceremony that you see me doing in my videos on TikTok at Wild Woman Retreat, which I don't hold Wild Woman Retreat anymore. So I really feel good about having that online. So any women that want to walk themselves through that healing ceremony, and you have a full video of me like guiding you through it. So it's the first time I think I've done a ceremony like that where I'm like, okay, you guys, this is everything you need to know about this ceremony. And then I do another video where it's like, in the next video, you're going to be in your shower with all your cauldrons set up with water, or you're going to be outside and you're going to turn your video on and let me talk you through this. So that was a lot of work. Am I going to be able to do a reading today for 8? I don't do readings on my lives. I do I get my cards out yearly and do a collective reading. I did that last week. I didn't get it onto YouTube this week because I was so busy uploading my classes, but I don't read people. I did that for a while when I first came live a couple of years ago, and I realized I felt exhausted by doing that. And I guess it's because I wasn't charging and it was a lot. Are you gonna be able to do a reading today for 8? I don't understand what that means, for 8. You can get readings with me through, I can't say that word, but I only do that on Wednesdays for people. Oh, for you? No. I don't do readings on my lives, like I said. It kept coming through 8, so I don't know why it was saying 8 rather than me. But no, I don't do readings. I did that for a little while, but it's been a couple years since I've done that type of live where I just was reading. So do you guys have any more questions for me? Oh, we're only at 53.5k hearts. I usually do a circle casting every Sunday. So is there anyone on here who wants to do that circle casting? If you do, heart up the live, and I will do that circle casting. So I cast a circle. I love you, Margie. I'll do it just for you. Is there anyone else on here from our virtual coven? Crunchy Witch. I know is it Tanika? I feel like I just botched your name. We have a virtual coven. There's so many people. Hi, Jess. In my virtual coven that don't communicate it. I got it right? Yay. But I know they're there and they're not leaving the group. And I really realize that I think a lot of us we're afraid we don't know how to communicate as these highly spiritual beings that are trapped in this human body that has a lot of trauma. So Erin's here. Thank you for being here, Erin. I think Betty Jo was here a while ago, and Kelly from She-Wolf Tarot. I seen her pop in for a second, but I was mid-sentence. Oh, you look forward to my circle every Sunday? That makes me so happy, Haley. Well, if you've never done a circle with me before, I cast a energetic circle of empowerment and protection, and I cast it in a way that it's for the collective. So if you want to be a part of it, I ask you to just say, yes, thank you, I accept, I receive, I claim this, whatever, in the chat. Otherwise, you're just watching and witnessing it. But if you are accepting it in that way, I am sending the circle that I am casting to you energetically. And I call a deity in each direction. I call forth the elements. There's nothing evil about this. And the way that we do it is I ask, when I say, bless us as we call your name, and I say the deity's name out loud, then you say it with me out loud 3 times after. And I ask that you find a place to sit down, that your spine is nice and long and straight. So if you're sitting up like I am now without your legs crossed, because if you cross your legs or you cross your arms, this is blocking your energy from me. If you're watching and you're like, I just want to watch and I don't want to absorb anything, you could just cross your legs or your arms, and that's your body saying, I don't accept this. So when you're opening, and I like you to also to tap it or to write it in the chat, just so it reaffirms that it's okay that I am sending you this energy. I'm really integral, I guess, with the way that I share these types of things online. It's always even worried me to do collective tarot card pulls, which actually my daughter does. If you guys haven't followed her, she's Star Tarot, I think it's Star Tarot. I worry about that because I just have a way that I feel like things need to be done. And so that's why I'm so like, I really like you to say it out loud or put it in there. And then I feel like it's safe for my energy to cast this circle for you. And I cast it in a way that it is sealed right now. So no matter where you go today, it's going to move with you. when you go to sleep tonight and lie your head down to sleep, the circle will be open, but it's never broken. And the reason I do the open but never broken is because by not breaking that circle, it allows the circle to dissipate naturally on its own, which allows time for integration. So your level of consciousness comes down slowly as whatever came in while you were in that protective space that I'm casting will be able to integrate its way into your life. It's just like if you are doing if you're doing a release ceremony of some sort, if you are energetically telling spirit, like, I'm ready to release this, it doesn't mean that it just poof is gone from your life. What that means is those wounds, if they aren't gone, are going to be triggered again to give you the opportunity to take action, to reiterate the fact that you are choosing to be done with that wound, if that makes sense. So we're going to start casting that circle in just a moment. So find a place that you can lie down, be undisturbed. If you have headphones, pop them in. I have to show you guys this. It's so cute. I don't know if you can see it, but my cat is in this basket right here. Do you see him? Isn't he so cute? Last week, Kitty was on here with me and he jumped on my back on my hat and like scratched the shit out of my back. But I'm gonna take a drink real quick and get ready, and we're gonna cast our circle. That's probably, you can hear me probably going gulp, 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 but I promised myself today I was gonna drink while I did the live so I didn't exhaust myself. All right, I'm gonna shut the door. Do you guys see what I have behind me? So this is part of what I've been making today. I've been making, because I made the potions for the class, I have them charging. I already used some of them to make the videos. Can you see that? These are potions that go in your cauldron. So keep an eye out for that class. I'll announce it in my email whenever I do that. But if you're all ready, let's go ahead and cast our circle. All right. So again, uncrossing legs, uncrossing arms. Yes, Max Joy, I'm open to receive. I accept. Ready. Beautiful. All those words claiming that you are energetically open to receive the circle that I am casting for empowerment and protection. And again, when I say the deity's name, bless us as we call your name, I invite you to speak their name out loud. What this is doing is allowing that energy of that deity to come into your energetic field. And these are deities, that aspects of them, they are archetypes, and the aspects of them already exist within you. And by calling their presence in, what this does is it anchors and roots that in your energy field, so their qualities, gifts, and abilities that exist within you are awakened while you are in this circle that we're casting right now. All right, so let's go. All right, closing your eyes. And emptying your body of your breath. And then sealing your lips. And slowly begin to inhale through your nose. Filling your entire body up with your breath. And when you get to the top, I want you to slowly exhale out your nose, a little different than what we normally do. So you're emptying your body of all the energetic debris from the week. So slowly letting it drip out of you through your nose. When you get to the bottom, just pause without inhaling. And then again, slowly inhaling through your nose, allowing your breath to move through you like a mist that has a consciousness. It's weaving its way through your body. It knows exactly where it's going. It's filling up every part of your body as you inhale, pausing at the top, and again, keeping your lips sealed, slowly exhaling through your nose, allowing what that breath consciously found to exit your body. It found all of the energetic debris and pain that didn't get processed. And then pausing at the bottom of your exhale and inhaling again through the nose. Again, seeing within your mind's eye this mist. It's spiraling its way in through your nose, through your throat, into your heart. It separates, goes down each arm, and then weaves its way back up from your fingertips. Goes back down your heart, through your ribs, your belly, your womb or hora, through your hips, your lower back, your spine, all the way down both legs into the feet, and then spirals its way back up as you exhale out your nose. Again, allowing all the miasma, the energetic debris to exit your physical body. Then pause at the bottom. Together, we're going to take a quick inhale through the nose. This time, open your mouth and audibly exhale. Again, sealing your lips, quick inhale. Open your mouth, audibly let go. One final time, deep inhale of the day. Pause at the top, soften your shoulders, soften your hips for 3, 2, 1. Exhale out your mouth. Squeezing your abdominal muscles at the bottom to extract every last drop of your breath. And then sealing your lips and let your breath reset back to a nice natural rhythm and pace. Feeling the breath flow in and out. Maybe even feeling your body slightly rock, cradling your nervous system, the rocking. Bringing yourself into this space where you are safe, where you are held. And today we're going to start by calling forth concentric circles of light surround us. These concentric circles of light today are opalescent. See these opalescent concentric circles of light and find yourself in the middle of these circles of light. See yourself sitting in this dark space with a pulsating light about 9 feet away from you. These circles of light pulsate but never end. And inside this circle with you is yourself as a child. She is needing, or they are needing, or he is needing to be held today. So allow the child within you to take shape and form within your mind's eye or within your inner knowing of how old you are. The child within you is really needing to be seen today. So notice the glimmer in her eyes, her eyelashes or their eyelashes or his eyelashes. Notice their ears, their hair, their mouth. Notice what you're wearing. And And maybe even take your little hands in your adult self's hands and holding them and smiling at yourself as a child. Looking down at the shoes you're wearing, or maybe it's no shoes, or maybe it's socks. I actually see myself in these little white socks that fold over and have lace around the edge. And I have little white shoes on. They're kind of shiny. Notice the way your hair brushes against your skin. And I want you to ask this little child in front of you if you have their permission to hug them. And if you don't have their permission to hug them, then maybe they'll just come sit right next to you for this circle casting. So if they'll allow you to hug them, reaching out and pulling them in towards you. And as you embrace them, you pull them right into your heart center. And if they came to sit beside you, allowing their presence to be right there beside you. But if you called them in your heart, they turned around once they got in your heart and are looking straight out of your heart space right now. They feel very safe and held, and so does the child sitting next to you if they didn't want to come inward and hug. We're coming back into this space where the concentric circles of light are surrounding you. You feel the darkness as little spirit bumps or almost a moistness against your skin. You find your sovereign self in the center of this sacred circle, where you're connected to many people, but you still are in your own sovereign sacred place and space. As I call forth the guardians of the watchtowers of the north, south, east, and west to join us and connect us through my words and energetic command across all mountains, oceans, deserts, bodies of water, countries, cities, towns, plains, connecting us through all dimensions now for all who are open and ready to receive. Guardian of the North, keeper of earth, I call forth and invoke the spirits and the elements of earth. Keeper of the keys, keeper of the crossroads, mother of witches, rising before us. Bless us as we call your name. Hecate, 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 Hecate. Guardian of the northeast, keeper of the rising sun and the sacred wells, blessing us with your presence of hope as light in the darkness. Bless us as we call your name. Bridget, 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 Bridget. Guardian of the east, keeper of air, I call forth and invoke the spirits and elements of air to join us now. She of 10,000 spells, she of 10,000 names, goddess of transformation, mother of transformation, mother of magic. Bless us as we call your name. Isis, 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 Isis. Guardian of the southeast, keeper of sovereignty. She who only speaks when she is ready to speak. She who sings the Divine Mother's sacred song, humming through her sacred frequency in the sounds of the songs of birds. Bless us as we call your name. Rhiannon, 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 Rhiannon. Guardian of the south, keeper of fire, I call forth and invoke the spirits and the element of fire. Queen of the Fae, she who knows love is the way, she who embodies both the light and shadow of the fire, she who shows us how to be with our righteous rage, with all of our feelings present. Bless us as we call your name. Anya, 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 Anya. Guardian of the southwest, keeper of mystery, keeper of the women, the witches who have woven their way through history, being misinterpreted, being mislabeled, being judged, but having the power and the strength within to continue to weave yourself through history. We see you within us, dear deity. We see how the collective Christians have trapped, held prisoner your beautiful legacy. No longer do we accept this. We as witches rise with you as we invoke you. We see that you too were judged, were demonized and labeled, and together we are the mystery, weaving ourselves through the shadows, through the dark caverns as you have. Bless us as we call your name. Mary Magdalene, Mary Magdalene, Mary Magdalene, Mary Magdalene. Guardian of the west, keeper of the sacred waters, I invoke the element and the spirits of water, keeper of the cauldron, guide of alchemy, she who shows us the transformational possibilities of water, of the feminine. Bless us as we call your name, Caridwen, 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 Caridwen. Guardian of the northwest, weaver of our sacred circle, queen of the oppressed, queen of witches, daughter of Diana, messenger of the moon goddess, messenger to witches. We call you forth to weave our sacred circle sealed for all that are open to accept and receive the protection and empowerment of this space. Bless us as we call your name, Aradia, 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 Aradia. From beneath us, we call forth the presence of our loving Earth Mother, she who endlessly supports and nourishes us. She who rises up to support us no matter what we have done to her. She who shows up in all her grace, in all her seasons and cycles, in her love and also in her rage. Calling forth the ancestors for all who partake in the sacred circle casting today, for the indigenous that walk the lands before them. We honor you. We call forth the ancestors from each individual's bloodline to enter their sacred circle that walk with them in a good way. We call forth the Fae, the elementals, and the gnomes, the protectors of the Earth Mother and her realms. From above us, we call forth the star brothers and sisters who shine over us even on the darkest days. We call forth the star systems from which our souls originate and the highest level of wisdom that you can pour down upon us. We accept and receive, bringing your hands to your heart, your left hand over your heart, your right hand over the left, taking a deep inhale as we call forth in each individual's sovereign sacred circle the I am presence of each individual. We call forth and welcome again the child within each of us to be here as the keeper and space holder of our inner brilliance, our inner innocence, our creative ability to create magic in our life, the magic in our life that our souls intended for us. This part of you remembers, and so we invite them forward to bring this remembrance to us now. As we lift this circle up, up, up to the 7th and 8th plane of consciousness, where divine knowing and miracles take place. Calibrating our energy to this 7th and 8th plane consciousness, opening our channel to receive from our higher self, our oversoul, our soul, and through the connection of our source. Divine Mother of all life, we invite your presence here now as we seal this sacred circle, as above, so below, as within, so without, as the universe, so the soul. This circle is now sealed. It is done, it is done, it is done. As I will, so mote it be. Taking a deep inhale. And as you exhale, blinking your eyes open, finding yourself back in this room, back in this space, I invite you to come into the chat, type anything that came to you, any colors, any aha moments, the way you're feeling. Thank you for joining me for this circle casting. This circle will remain open and never broken until you lie your head to sleep tonight. When you lie your head down to sleep tonight, the circle will be open and never broken, and the wisdom you receive while awake today will integrate as the circle dissipates. So mote it be. Oh, you cried. I love that. I don't know if I'm the only person that I love it when people cry. I spent so much of my childhood years being too much and being raised by a mom who's like, we're strong women, we don't cry, to where I realized a lot of my healing happened when I allowed myself to cry. So I love it when people cry. My heart is full. Thank you. Thank you, Marjorie. My heart is full. Thank you all for being here with me. Marjorie comes every week. Many of you come every week, and I so appreciate that. But Marjorie is like committed for over a year to coming and always being, I'd say 99% of the time I'm live, she's in that chat being my guardian and protector. So thank you for being there, and thank you to all the others who were in the live moderating as well. I thank you. There's so many of you who come weekly to see me. You feel clear. I love it. Thank you, Betty Jo. I seen Astrid here protecting. Thank you, Astrid. Thank you, Erin. All my coven sisters. Tanika, you feel embraced. I love that. Oh, you just came in. Well, I usually post the live replays. Kept seeing a massive pentagram. Oh, I love that. Earth, air, fire, water, and spirit. Somebody else crying. I love that. Thank you for being here, Erin. A flash of purple. I love that. Oh, there's someone with my last name in here. How cute. I saw a lot of crows and a lot of purple. Ooh, I like that. It's either the Morgan or Hecate. Hello from Colorado. I cried and seen a purple and white light. Oh, I love that. Spirals of yellow. Beautiful. I saw a lot of purple too. A lot of purple today. Well, I'm glad you thought it was amazing. Thank you for being here and joining us live. And look at that. I cast a circle and we only have 79K likes. Can you guys heart up the live before I go? Very powerful and moving. Thank you. I felt goosebumps on my right leg. Oh, I love that. When I get the spirit bumps only on my legs, I pay attention. I feel like that's such an abnormal place to get them that when they come there, I'm like, oh, like, what are you doing here? You too? Yeah. Blessed be. Well, before I go, is there anything you guys, any questions you have, anything I didn't touch on today that you might be feeling? Any questions you have? Bright yellow and pink. I love that. Eclectic Goddess cried. Oh. I have a question. Okay. What time do you start your live on Sundays? At 10 o'clock, usually Arizona time. But today I was more like 10:30. So depending on what I have going on in the morning, sometimes I'm a little late, sometimes I'm a little early. Oh, I feel like we all have a lot to learn, but it's great to be in that space of beginner's mind, because that's where we need to be right now. I feel like the only place to be is beginner's mind, because it's like you're a child and everything is like, oh, instead of thinking we know it all, because obviously we don't know it all. Thank you, Ireland. How to work with the goddess. You call her in. You know, I tell the story often, so I'm sorry if you've heard it before, but when I wanted to know if the goddess, Divine Mother, existed, I remember in the beginning being like, what do I even call her? I just knew I didn't believe as God as the white-haired man in the sky. And I didn't believe that if God, who was this white-haired guy in the sky, if he loved his children and we were all his children, why one child was better? And if one child was better, why was he okay with unaliving that one child because the rest of us were sinners? And why would he have to pay for the rest of us being sinners? And why were we sinners for just being born? Like, why did you make us be born this way? There were so many questions for me, and all I knew was that I didn't believe in that. I did not believe I needed a savior. I did not believe that if there was a God that was our creator, that they would do that. And I knew I was a witch. And so I started studying witchcraft, and they always talked about this goddess. And so I wrote a letter to this goddess and asked, you know, and gave details like, I want to know if you exist. If you exist, send me it in the form of a rose. Send the sign as a rose. And I put details of like, I want it to not be on my birthday, to not be on a holiday. I put all these restrictions in this. I sprinkled some herbs in there, and I sealed it in an envelope and addressed it to the goddess. And I burned it with a white candle. And within 3 days, I was at a restaurant, and the waitress came out and handed me a rose and said, we've had this rose in the back for a few days, and we don't know how it got there, but we thought you were pretty. And so I asked everyone, can we give this to this girl out there? It's going to die if we just let it lay here. And so she brought it out to me. I thought I would fall over. I still have that rose. I dried it and kept it. And ever since then, I knew that the part of our Creator, I just knew there was a Divine Mother, and I've never strayed away from that. I believe that happened around 2007, and I was already practicing the craft for a while at that point, like out of the broom closet, but I had never like solidified my, like, who was my source or creator. And so we all have to find that for ourselves. And I was talking about that in the beginning, that I honor the feminine aspect of our creator, whoever that is, because I've had validation that that is who I'm in service to. And throughout my life, the rose shows up as a sign again and again that I need to pay attention to. And my middle name is Rose. It's a family name from my grandmother on the witchy side of my family, which is interesting because the witchy side of my family is my mother's side of the family, and I had to go no contact with my mother. But I feel like the ancestors on that side of my family are supporting me on my path, and they show me through the rose. And there's a lot of toxicity on that side of my family, so much toxicity that I believe I am who I am in this life to be able to change that dynamic in my family, but it can't be done by love and lighting it. And I guess that's why I'm so firm on the love and light is not always how you change things. You can't just light it away. And so that's why I was talking a lot about that in the beginning. Thank you, Marjorie. I think you're the only one sending gifts today. Oh, somebody else is sending rose. Thank you for the roses. If you guys haven't followed me, go follow me. How to work with the Fae. Well, depending on where you live, and you can make a fairy garden. I made a fairy garden in my yard and invited them in. These are things that you just have to do on your own and follow your own heart. But starting by making a fairy garden and inviting them in is a good way. I do believe they are inherent to certain areas, so they're not natural for other areas. Where, like, I live is in a valley, there's not a lot of water or growth here, and so I created like a little area of my yard that's for the fairies, and invite their presence in that way. But I believe there are areas where they just are natural, if that makes sense. Like, that's their natural habitat. But we do invite them in when we cast our sacred circle, because I do see the Fae in my practice as they are guardians and protectors of the Earth Mother and also of the ancestors, because I believe the ancestors' bodies have returned to the earth, so they are now part of the earth. And that's why after I invoke the Earth Mother and the ancestors, then I invoke the Fae, because they always protect the Earth Mother and the ancestors. Oh, 100K, thank you. Thank you guys for hearting up the live and got me to 100K today. And thank you for showing up every week with me. I love coming here and chatting with you. And again, I've spent so much time this week just talking to myself in front of this camera. I didn't know if I could do it today, because I was like, I am just like mentally exhausted. But actually, I feel like it was really good to see you guys and feel like it flowed. And yeah, every Sunday I usually try to start around 10 o'clock Arizona time. So you can always join me then. Greetings. Well, thank you. I'm grateful for you guys being here. Anything else you guys want to know before I go? If you join my email list, you'll get a notification when my newest classes come out, 3 Cauldrons and the Activations class, but I've got a lot of other classes in there as well. Oh, I hope you have a wonderful week too, Tanika, and I hope I see you in the Coven app more. I haven't seen you in there lately. Which deity of fire did you invoke? I forgot the direction. I invoked Anya in the south. Blessed be, Lexi. Thank you so much. Blessed be. Yes. Okay, I guess I'll say it now because I'm getting off, but there's a link in my bio. But whenever I say that, AI comes in and restricts the live, so I'm not supposed to say it. But I'm going to go anyway, so go check out, if you haven't followed me, please go follow me. Check out my videos. We have a retreat that is not full yet, Practical Magic. It's a Samhain retreat. We have payment plans available, and this retreat is so magical, so fun. We go to the cemetery. We all stay in the same house together. It is 5 days of your witchiest life of your dreams. So I'm waiting to see who the sisters are that are going to take the last spaces available there. So go check that out. Check out my classes. And I am going to go drink some more water, Margie. You do the same. Take care of you. I love you all. So much love for all my virtual coven sisters, retreat sisters. And I'll see you next week. Blessed be.